Next door to Colorado's Grand State Capitol, the Harm Reduction Action Center is hidden in plain sight, much like the epidemic they're fighting inside.
The longer this person isn't breathing, the more cells are dying.
Vernon Lewis is an overdose prevention specialist who recruited the problem solvers on his life-saving mission.
Give them a breath, one good one, and continue with Narcan.
Narcan is the brand name for Naloxone.
One Mississippi.
If given in time, it's a medicine that can reverse a fatal overdose from any opiate drug.
1 milligram, 4 needle, right into the large muscle, shoulder, straight through the shirt, jacket, and just push it in.
Here's why that shot is so important. Opiate drugs enter the brain and molecules bind to opiate receptors. When too many molecules block too many receptors, your brain stops telling your lungs to breathe. But naloxone actually has a stronger affinity for those receptors, so it can knock opiate molecules off those receptors for a short time, restoring your ability to breathe and survive.
You can't give a person too much Narcan. It's not going to hurt them. Only thing you can do is good.
And in this case, doing good is easy. 3
simple letters, BNN. Breathe, Narcan, 911. These 3 steps will save someone's life.
Those 3 steps have been part of Vernon's life ever since he overdosed on these steps.
I almost ended my life right here.
6 years ago, this apartment was still under construction, and the staircase was accessible.
This is a good hiding spot for someone who wanted to get high.
Vernon owes his life to a stranger who started CPR and called paramedics who carried naloxone.
If you one of those people who believe in second chances, here's a second chance right here on my shoulder.
If you need proof, look no further. A man in Pennsylvania decided to shoot heroin on a public bus earlier this year. What happens next isn't easy to watch. He suffers an overdose right in front of his fellow passengers. A police officer first on scene administers naloxone, and minutes later the man regains consciousness and stands up, able to walk as police take him into custody.
I now have a tool that can help me fight this demon, this monster.
It's a tool that comes in several forms.
Injection complete.
And Vernon is able to teach all of them.
How many people have been in and out of this classroom and left with that knowledge?
In this year, 400 or more.
You can find some of those 400 on the Cherry Creek bike path below Spear and Colfax. It's become the epicenter of the heroin epidemic in Colorado.
I had a habit when I came around.
This man told us he's a heroin addict himself.
What do you think about naloxone?
Saved my life and saved my best friend's life as well.
And he hasn't just received it.
Used it on 3 separate occasions. Saved 3 different people. Saved their lives.
Saved 3 lives.
3 of the 360 overdose reversals credited to the Harm Reduction Action Center in just the past 4 years. Each dot on this map shows where they happened. Some areas so concentrated, you have to zoom in to see them all. And those numbers represent more than just dots on a map. For example, right here at Spear and Colfax, they really represent 37 lives saved. And that's just the beginning. For the past year, Denver police have also carried naloxone, and they've used it 12 times. And they're not the only ones. In the same span of time, Denver Fire has used it 130 times. Yet none of those numbers compare to Denver paramedics, first on scene. They've been carrying naloxone for years. They used it 930 times in just the past 12 months. If you break those numbers down by zip code, you'll see this area does receive the most attention, but it is far from the only area in need.
That's just a small fraction of the actual narcotic overdoses that we actually see.
Denver paramedic Captain David Edwards says the majority of overdoses are not on the street and not due to heroin.
What we're seeing is a more prevalent overdosing of pill painkillers, prescribed painkillers, and almost half of our naloxone administrations have happened in a residence, not out on a street.
And that's not just true in Denver. From 2002 to 2014, overdose deaths increased steadily in every Colorado county except for one. The darker the color, the higher the death rate. And the trend is being driven primarily by prescription opiates.
There's definitely this viewpoint of, well, it's an orange bottle, it's safe. That's not true.
Jeremiah Lindman learned that firsthand.
So this is my brother, JT.
JT was addicted to OxyContin, and it eventually took his life in 2007. Years later, Jeremiah decided to create a different kind of overdose map, incorporating photos and stories submitted by families like his.
This is the real face behind those mortality numbers that keep on coming out, unfortunately, keep rising.
Yet, as those faces and numbers increase, he says education about naloxone seems to lag behind.
If I would have known, or my family would have known a little bit more about it back then, things maybe would have been different.
It's the assembled naloxone. So
having naloxone in the hands of either friends or family members or patients who are using opioids, prescription opioids appropriately, is the next frontier.
Dr. Joshua Bloom says that frontier is now as close as your nearest pharmacy.
A very, very simple drug with literally no downside that has the ability to reverse imminent death.
On the other side of that water was my first reversal.
This is where Vernon realized naloxone could give him something heroin couldn't.
There's a high that comes with, doing something good for someone and saving someone's life. It's a really good feeling.
You're addicted.
Yeah. I found a drug.
This is their wall of people who've died.
Inside the Harm Reduction Action Center, there's an overdose memorial reminding everyone what's at stake.
Hey, Governor, how you doing?
But when Governor Hickenlooper visited last month, Vernon also had a chance to tell him about the 360 lives saved.
In Colorado?
In Colorado.
In the Denver area.
Wow, that's amazing. Isn't that staggering? I mean, it really is.
It is. It is.
And I've done 64 of them.
So he's,
Wow, you should be very proud.
I am.
He's also proud because with the help of the problem solvers, his next naloxone training won't be hidden. It will be held at the state capitol.
Are you nervous?
Am I nervous?
Yeah.
No, I'm always a little nervous.
Yes, Governor Hickenlooper has signed up to become the first governor in the country to receive naloxone training.
I'm sure I won't be the last governor, because as more governors hear about what this says, what it does, that you can increase the awareness of how to save lives. Why not do it, right?
I'm a tough teacher. It's going to be all right, I think.
We will see. The governor will receive his training tomorrow. But if you want more information, you don't have to wait. Tonight, the Harm Reduction Action Center created this interactive map where you can actually see every pharmacy in the state where you can purchase naloxone. For more information, go to our website, kdvr.com, and look for this story on the homepage. Ken Dordahl, Fox 31 Denver.